Davy Fitz is like Marmite. You either love him or hate him, and I definitely love him. Probably because I'm a Clare woman and he won an All-Ireland for us. But he's got such passion.
Play-by-play on Sports Joe and Her. Brought to you by AIG in support of 20 by 20.
It's a new week. We have no Conan, no Mackers. Better looking people are now on the panel, so it's all good. No rules. I'm Jenny Murphy. This is Play-by-Play. I'm going to introduce you to the panel. We have physiotherapist and sports broadcaster Lauren Guilfoyle. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
And we also have runner extraordinaire, recent European under-23s bronze medalist Nadia Power. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction. Very happy with it.
I'm not going to lie. I need to say that that's the first time I've nailed an introduction straight through. Nice. So I probably shouldn't be saying this now. I'm probably ruining it, but I don't care. I'm actually pretty chuffed with myself. So you're rolling with it. Yeah. Nadia, you've had a pretty dramatic kind of run end of July. Probably more dramatic than season 6 of Game of Thrones. We'll get into that later on.
That's okay.
But first, let's get right into it. Like, how did you kind of get into your sports in the first place?
So I did a sports day, I think, in about senior infants, and did the race 200 metres and just destroyed the whole club, including all the boys. So my mum said, oh, better get her into a running club, and that was really it. Yeah, and I also did Camogie as well. I think I was doing Camogie before running even, so they were my two sports until I was about 16, and then just the running was kind of getting more and more serious, so I had to give up the Camogie. But yeah, I was very busy.
So when you were senior infants, absolutely whooping the lads, did you use the word, I just demolished you, or did you let them know?
I would have I'd say there is just, you kind of in primary school, you keep doing the like every year race where just the whole class races, and then you have the ultimate title, I think, in primary school, which is fastest in the class. So I kept that until about 5th class or so. Okay. And the other girl actually was a Camogie player as well, who was the second fastest in the class above all the boys. So yeah, we were good friends. We were happy with that.
So what about speedster? Do you have any speed or any pace in primary school?
I was. I think my long legs helped me. 100 metres was my event, but I don't know, running just didn't catch my attention back then. I like it a bit more now, but
yeah.
I think the one kind of race that I did enter, I was coming first, and then I saw they had a little ticker tape, and I was like, I didn't know what to do, so I slowed down.
Oh no!
And came third, and that was the end of my athletics career. I was like, I'm just more motivated to chase after a ball. Which is great. Just compare myself to a dog. Brilliant. This is going well so far. So you realised then pretty early on that you were like, not too bad at this.
Yeah.
Mum got you into it. What was the local club that you joined? Is it like Gaelic? The other way you kind of you join your local parish, and if you're living there, you kind of stay there throughout.
Yeah, it would be similar enough to that. So I'm with quite a small club called Temple Oak Athletics Club. It's literally, we don't have a track, we don't have a clubhouse, just did laps around a pitch and up and down the path for years. So that was really it, yeah.
So just the basics.
The very basics, and it's a bit more complicated now, as you can imagine. But yeah, that was the basics for years, just a few times a week up until kind of late teens, and then it got a bit more serious then.
And when it gets more serious, obviously, because you want to have it as much, I know when it comes to the rugby, you want to try and keep your training as close to game replication as you can. So I'd imagine the same with running. Obviously, running on a track is very different to running on a field. Do you get to run another athletics club? Are they kind of sound about that, or are you just sort of yourself?
Well, since I went to DCU, I train with them, so it's still wear the vest of Temple Oak AC, but we kind of have a DCU athletics group that we all train with there, and I moved to the coach, his name's Enda Fitzpatrick, in DCU, so we have our own group there, and we're all in different clubs, and we just train together there, and around fields a lot of the time, but then I guess when it gets more serious, we'll go to the track and kind of get a better feel for race pace and stuff like that.
And how was the change? Did it get more serious quite quickly when you were young, or is it a gradual kind of thing jumping into uni?
Well, I would have represented Ireland for the first time when I was about 14, so then I was still playing camogie and I guess not worrying about it too much, like probably training 3-4 times a week, but like it was very serious, you know. It always is, even when you look back you take it so seriously.
Everything is serious. Senior infants running, that to be the fastest in the school is serious.
It's so important at the time. So yeah, no, I was taking it seriously. But yeah, just gradually, I guess for years throughout my teenage years, I just add on like another training session every week, and then maybe like by like fourth year I was like winning like the All-Ireland schools and like training kind of 4 or 5 times a week, and then we'd be chasing times for international competitions like European Youths and then European Juniors and World Youth. So it started getting quite serious then, and you're trying to hit times and qualifying times. So like, yeah, I'd say if I had a kind of pivotal point, it would have been when I was 17, when I really like started taking it super seriously and was like training every day and kind of trying to get the gym in and trying to like go to sports scientist and all that and get that in. Yeah,
kind of get your 1%ers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's when I started really thinking about that. Yeah.
Was it as enjoyable then when you took it that little bit more seriously? Was there expectations placed upon you maybe?
Yeah, I would say the expectations were only because of me. Like no one else was putting too much pressure on me, to be honest. Like I would have kind of went to my coach and been like, I want to train more, and I kind of would have been like popping off and doing extra sessions and stuff like that. I remember specifically in 5th year, he just kind of knew I wanted to take control of things because I just wanted to go to the next level, and I was kind of borderline running for Ireland at the time, trying really hard to hit qualifying time. So like I was just trying to get, as you said, the extra 1%. So yeah, and just
so it's easy when you kind of love something, you want to keep on doing to the best of your ability.
Yeah, and like I remember specifically that year, like I was like, okay, I'm taking it more seriously this year, and like did a few extra things, and then I like dropped 9 seconds off my PB, which probably isn't that significant, but
sorry, hold on a second there. 9 seconds is pretty significant chunk. Like even if I'm trying to like eat an ice cream faster, chopping off 9 seconds is like
So that was over 1,500, and then I qualified for World Youths, which like at the time they made the qualifying times really, really hard that year. So only actually 3 people qualified from Ireland, because like it was in Colombia. I think they didn't really want to bring anyone because it was so far and expensive. So but yeah, I ended up going there. So that was a big breakthrough year, and then from then on I've just gotten more and more serious, and then it's really clicked since I went to DCU and like moved coach. Just things have been getting better and better all the time. Yeah.
And like Lauren, for you, you've all, like doing a lot of sports broadcasting, so you're going to be our camogie expert, by the way, heads up for today. And hurling, but like you've obviously played minor with Clare and still very much immersed in that sporting world. Was there a senior infants race moment for you? Did you have like, oh, I want to kind of work in this field, or I want to be involved?
I don't know. I don't think there was ever one specific moment. I'm steeped in GA history in terms of my family, so I would have been raised on the side of a GA pitch. So there was never kind of one specific moment. I suppose the first time you made that Clare under 14 team probably kind of gave me the fuel that I needed to push on, and then it got to like minors when I was doing all right or whatever, and then I got to college in UL and you were playing with all-stars and I wasn't making the team and I was barely making the panel, and then I think it's at that moment that I thought, well, I'm not going to make it as a player, so I'm going to try and find another way to make it to the big days. And that's kind of when the interest in the sports physio and the sports broadcasting really came to the fore, and I kind of put to the back, I suppose, my actual participation, which is probably a good and a bad thing. I'd love to get back playing now, but yeah, there wasn't probably one particular moment. It was just the way I always was. I was kind of brought up in that whole sphere.
Because I know when I speak to a lot of the girls, especially like there's with camogie being quite physical, sometimes there can be a lot of breaks with hands, fingers, and your physio. that's you rely on that, so it can be. That can be tricky. You're kind of you're going out and playing 80 minutes, which is like you're playing the sport that you love. Then you're like, oh, I have a mortgage, or I have.
I know, yeah. So that actually, there was one particular when I used to live in Dublin. I remember one weekend I fell and I nearly broke my 2 wrists. I really badly injured them, and I went into work the following Monday, and I was only an intern at the time, so I hadn't a huge amount of responsibility. But I was kind of like, I don't think I can do too much this week. And then I'd be friendly enough with David Breen, who is the physio with Wasps over in England, and he actually had to kind of put an end to his playing, so he would have played with Limerick and a Pearshig. But if he broke a hand, which he actually did at one point, you'd miss 6 weeks of work. So yeah, that probably did play a factor in terms of not pursuing my involvement, but I get to be involved in a different way.
Yeah, so you could hardly be like, I'm just going to do some new techniques, which is me walking on your back instead of using my
I can't
hands.
use my hands.
Yeah, but they don't need to know that. It's like, oh, it's this new this thing from the
We're trying to
States.
get rid of that stuff out of the profession.
Yeah. Okay, I won't say anything. Okay, we better get back to the drama that unfolded over in Sweden. Yeah, this is like, I don't know, have you seen some of the clips or heard the backstory behind it? But like, okay, I'm going to try and do a brief summary and then you can correct me overall.
Yeah,
so,
sounds good.
800 metres, put in an unbelievable performance, nabbed the bronze medal, British pair came first and second, was on the podium, did the interviews, absolutely ecstatic, and then someone came over to you and was like, you're disqualified.
Almost right.
Damn it.
Podium didn't happen. Everything else completely right.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, delighted. Just got the bronze by 1/10 of a second. But I guess.
See, you just said 9 seconds there wasn't a big deal. 10th of seconds.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
calling you out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It makes a big difference. But yeah, I got the bronze. So happy because I went into the competition ranked 7th. And yeah, over the moon. Got my flag pictures, held the flag backwards, of course, like an idiot.
Ivory Coast are delighted.
Yeah, they're really, really happy with me. And then, yeah, I did a few interviews. 10 minutes later, just one of the like European athletics officials just gave me a look, and he was like, "Come over here," and I was like, "I'm not disqualified, am I?" Like, what? And then he was like, "Yeah." And I was just obviously a little bit hysterical. Like, I was just so upset and shocked.
I think
I think it's fair because, like, honestly, it was literally the biggest high I've ever had in my life. Like, that moment, that 10 minutes, and then, like, to be taken away from me like that, it was so tough. So basically, what it was I impeded another athlete. So basically, pushed was the kind of like the best way to describe it. But like the thing is, right, it's a championship race. In a lot of the times, championship races are like really, really slow and then they speed up really fast, and then it's just a burn up to the finish line. So that's the way that one was. Like the first lap, we were just jogging. We were literally all like on top of each other. Like
it was quite a tight.
It was really, really tight, and we were all just so anxious. And I've been in that situation before, and I've literally been tripped and fallen. Like it's just you're all on top of each other. You're so anxious. You're waiting for someone to go. So what happened was the girl who won in the end, from Scotland, Gemma Reiki, like came around on the outside and like just kind of cut in, and then I just put my hand up like that and like held my ground. Now, so I wouldn't say I pushed, and like the reason I was disqualified was because like I impeded her was the term like they used, but I obviously didn't impede her because she won. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that in a way was lucky that it was her like that it was against. So it was just like one track official who called that out and like ensure that disqualification happened. So it was no like complaints from other countries and stuff, so that really helped me. So yeah, it was a long 90 minutes. Team Ireland 90 minutes after the race I was waiting to see if the appeal went through. Yeah, it was absolutely horrible for everyone involved.
And in those 90 minutes you didn't rewatch the...
No, I didn't. I couldn't, because I didn't want to see like if it actually looked really bad.
Yeah.
Because the two Athletics Ireland like team coaches, they were so good. Like they just stayed really calm and were like, let's get to work. Like we have a good case here. Like stuff like this usually happens in championships. It's so common for races like that. So they just got to work and like made the argument. We found British Athletics and told them about the situation. And I knew, because I'd raced the girl who won and I'd raced the girl who came second, that they were really happy that I came third. Like they were really happy for me. And they were, so then like straight away they were like, what can we do? So they went to the appeals and were like, look, like the girl who won, Gemma Reiki, was like, look, I didn't feel anything. Like that's not fair. She deserves bronze. So I think that really helped my appeal. I had like everyone from different countries coming up to me the whole time while I was waiting, being like, that's ridiculous. Why are you disqualified? So that was
Does that
nice.
make it? Is that a calming thing, or is that like, okay, your words mean nothing right now?
Yeah, like it gave me hope, but I was trying to like keep my hopes down, even though everyone around me was like, stay calm, there's a chance it can be like reinstated. I thought it was easier to kind of think the worst, because I don't want to get my
then you
hopes
can't, it's not like, it's a roller coaster already, you don't need to lift yourself.
Yeah, no, so I really like didn't get like happy again until I had that medal. So anyway, won the appeal 90 minutes later after just waiting around to see. They delayed the medal ceremony. The whole stadium was empty by the time it was on. So they finally did it and got my medal. So that was a nice moment. But to be honest, I was still kind of like waiting for someone to appear from behind. Like,
sort of like shove the medal in your pocket and then get out of there.
I literally just wanted to grab it and go. I was waiting for someone to come with pitchforks and like take it off me. That's honestly how I felt. I was like, it's mine, I'm hiding it. Like, but yeah, no one's came after me yet.
No, that is your bronze medal. Yeah, and it's not the only bronze medal you have now, but that is completely yours. So massive congratulations.
Thank you.
The stress. I'm even thinking about.
Did it make it better though, like in retrospect, as in if you had just won it and enjoyed the moment and gone home with your medal? But looking back now, the story kind of...
It adds to it, definitely. Like my
kind of look at the silver linings here.
Like my friends always nicknamed me like the dramatic one. They're like, of course you had to do things dramatically, but to be honest, no, it didn't add to things. Like I'd rather that didn't happen. Like it's a good story all the same, but like the stress.
Well, it's a nice story now. I think like if you just run it like got the medal straight away, we would have moved on to something else. But we're still talking about it now.
Exactly.
So like it's a good anecdote to have in the back pocket.
It is, but like a few people said to me, oh, it must have been so much sweeter on the podium because of that, and I was like, no, it wasn't really. I was on the podium like, is it actually mine? Is someone going to take it away now? But yeah, some good feelings on the podium too.
And like Athletics Ireland at the moment, there's this, it seems like a surge of...
Definitely.
It's brilliant to see. You see it in papers more. Like I know when I was growing up, it was the medal was, or the person was Sonia O'Sullivan.
Yeah, of course.
And now you've got Adeleke, Healy's, got yourself.
Yeah.
Like again, Paul Byrne did really well at the weekend. Delighted for him.
Yeah.
There's more names and there's more role models. Is Athletics Ireland in a good place, and is it going to...
Honestly, like it's so nice. I think we got 7 or 8 like underage medals in the last 2 weeks, which is just like doesn't really happen like for Ireland in the last few years anyway. And even just at national championships yesterday, there was just like a good feeling in the air. Like I left being like, right, the atmosphere was so much better than it has been. Those races were really competitive. People are doing well. People are running fast times. And like, I just really have a really positive, good feeling about it, especially at national championships yesterday. Everyone was saying like, that's the best one there has been in a while. So yeah, it's really uplifting. Because
that like a buzz is so important for a player as well. Like you can... I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just like, oh, it's the stadium feels alive or the track feels alive.
Yeah.
Like case in point, you were pretty buzzed the weekend. You got to see some absolutely cracking games. Would you ever fancy taking a spin down to Morton Stadium and checking out?
Absolutely. I think any sport, like you could go to any sporting stadium and just lap up the atmosphere and you feed off it. Like
and especially you see the success. Like
exactly. You see people happy and like you enjoy those kind of positive vibes. Like I don't come from a background in terms of athletics, but you see people enjoying doing things to the best of their ability, and I think you can take a lot from it.
While I'm eating a burger, being like, oh, I'd never do that. No chance. I was like, oh, is it the 400 meters or the 800? I'm still like, both disgusting. Double cheese, please. Thank you. So like national championship went really well. Another bronze medal in the back pocket.
Yesterday,
Not as much dramatics.
No, there was pushing there yesterday, but it's 800 metres, it's the way it goes.
Is it like when you're going around, it seems like everyone's trying to find a line going around the corner and you just have to, this is my space?
Yeah, I think the thing is like 800 metres is the shortest race where you're not in lanes. It's just like a really awkward speed. We're just all going like really fast, but not our fastest, and we're all on top of each other. We're all trying to find the inside line, so it's really common. Like it's quite common to kind of get cut off. Like if someone's on your outside and then they just make a sudden move and they're in front of you, and then you've lost a few meters just because they kind of cut your stride. And like at the speed you're going at over 800 meters, it can be like quite difficult to regain that, and even like in 1500 meters and stuff like that. But that's just racing.
It's such a tactical thing.
Yeah.
It's not like run 800 meters as fast as you can.
No.
If you were to pick like 400 meters, 800 meters, and like a 1500 meters athlete, what makes an 800 meters runner?
I'm probably not the best person to answer, since I actually did 1500s really mostly until
And you're
this
just like,
year.
oh, cut this. No,
Yeah.
I need to be out of here.
Yeah, cut this in half. Yeah, there's kind of a debate, like, is a 4-8 runner a better combination because they're coming from speed, or is it like a 1500 meter 8 runner because they're coming from like strength? It's really hard to answer that. Like, it just, you see different cases all the time. Like, obviously it's great if you're a 400 meter runner and you have a lot more speed, but are you going to be too tired to use that speed, you know, with 700 to go, whereas a 1500 meter runner could be feeling way more fresh at like with 700 to go and be able to like outkick you. So yeah, it's just,
And you're coming from the more strength.
100%. Yeah, I'm not fast. Like, even in that European final.
Hold on a second. We've seen this. Myself and Lauren both actually like looked and we're like, get away from here now. Yeah.
No, but like, as in a sprinting term, I'm not fast, or like my
Okay.
400 flat time is not fast. So like I probably would have had one of the slowest 400 meter PBs, but like the thing with, since I've moved to 800 meters, I always just get to 600, 650 and I'm feeling fresh. Like, so that's what I'm like really enjoying about them. Like, it feels really fast at the start and then just kind of my strength kicks in and I feel really good with like 150 to go. So I've been enjoying that feeling.
And is it all like pace in your head, like going around the track? Are you thinking, okay, this is what I have to do now, or do you have markers, or is it more time? Like,
so
or the latest song lyrics, like,
yeah, no, I'd be looking at the clock.
Okay.
You're looking at the clock. It obviously depends, like, what kind of race it is. Like, if it's a tactical race, you don't really care as much about the clock. But like, when it comes to me trying to run like a personal best, it's so specific. Like, my coach would be telling me like, okay, I want you to run the first 200 meters in 29 seconds. Don't you dare run a 28 though, because that will ruin your race. It has to be 29. Ideally 29 high, like closer to 30. Like, it's so specific. And I think with 800, like, if you go like half a second too quick at a certain time, it just hits your legs really hard.
Yeah.
And it can be such a difference to how you feel in the last 100 meters. So yeah, it's actually so specific. Like, I have my ideal like times I'd like to go through each part in, like, I guess, to run my best race.
So it's nearly like a box ticking exercise. Like, okay, I've got my 29 here. Now I need to get there at whatever.
Yeah, no, it is. But it never, obviously,
that's the plan. The plan is.
Yeah,
the plan is. Okay.
Something I just find races, like, I visualize a lot, like, to help me. Like, I like to visualize my race before, but like something unexpected happens every single race that you're not prepared for, and you just have to deal with it. So that's just the way it is, I guess. Yeah.
I'm sure that's I think that's what the beauty of sport is. You're just like, something gets thrown your way.
Yeah.
Because like at the weekend there has been some unbelievable matches. We'll go into the hurling first. We'll talk to our hurling expert, Lauren Guilfoyle, aka Tinfoil. Yeah, you were at both games.
Yes.
Do you have a pick of the pair, or they were just
the second game? So Tipperary Wexford absolutely hands down won the weekend for me. I think the GA made a master stroke in putting both semi-finals on the one weekend for the past 2 years. They hadn't done that previously, and last year we had 2 extra times, so everyone was kind of asking, is it going to live up to it again this year? It did. We nearly got extra times in both games. It was a pity we didn't, because who wouldn't want more hurling? There's only one game left.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 unbelievable games. But I think Tipperary Wexford, because we really the 70th minute, we didn't know who was going to go home as All-Ireland finalists. And yeah, that one, like, there was just so much controversy. You could do a full show in one game alone.
Was it 3 disallowed goals?
So Tipperary 3 disallowed goals.
Red card.
Had a red card. Wexford had a goal that apparently was a square ball. Everyone's kind of on the fence about that. Ref made some questionable calls. Subs made huge impacts off the bench. You had Davy Fitz versus Liam Sheedy. You had a battle between them. We're 4-0. Like, it was mental.
So much drama, so much time. Because and again, like, we were talking a little bit before the show about how it's strange to go into an All-Ireland semi-final and chat about Kilkenny and Tipperary not being the bookies' favourites. And that was the kind of, they came back and, you know, like, slightly older team, some of them, and they just gritted through what was a cracking performance. Do you want to call the final?
Oh God.
Okay, well, like
It's so hard because Tipperary like probably have the better panel of the two teams, but Kilkenny have won their last 2 games on work rate alone. They haven't got the best bench in comparison anyway to Limerick. That's kind of why Limerick probably were the favourites the last day. And Brian Cody has just reinvented a new Kilkenny.
how does he keep doing that?
He's been there since 1999. I was 4 years old. Like, he's got a brand new team and a team that like doesn't have the household names that would have been there previously. There's no Henry Shefflins or Eddie Brennans or JJ Delaney's. He just has guys that work hard and rowing together, and that's what beat Cork. That's what beat Limerick. So like, is it going to beat Tipperary? Who knows? But there was a time there where Kilkenny finals just, they got a bit boring.
Yeah.
Like, there was tickets going on general sale, which isn't heard of for All Ireland hurling finals. But this one has bite.
This
So
one
I
is going to be
can't
an
wait.
absolute cracker. Oh, so you got yourself a gig for that day then.
I'm trying. I'm like,
You'll be fine. She's great at it. Get her the gig. Did you have a look at Davy Fitz? Poor Davy Fitz.
I haven't
dejected
actually
face?
seen any of the entries afterwards. I'm like, people, Davy Fitz is like Marmite. You either love him or hate him, and I definitely love him. Probably because I'm a Clare woman and he won an All Ireland for us. But he's got such passion and he goes out to try and do the best thing.
And they
each
love
game.
him. Like,
They
I think
do.
that's like...
I was speaking to some Wexford fans after the game for work, and the overriding emotion was just kind of, I suppose, delight with the year that they had and thanking Davy for the work they've done. Like, they wouldn't have been a top 10 county when he started, and they're going home probably thinking they should be in the All Ireland final. So the work has been phenomenal. I hope he stays on. He probably won't.
Oh, why do you think
He was thinking about his future after the first year. He went back for the second year, and then the season just gone. The players actually got a bus down to 6 Mile Bridge in Clare to convince him to come back. And it's a long trip down to Wexford. There's an awful lot of pressure, and that's what I'm thinking about next year. If he doesn't get to the All Ireland final next year, it's probably going to be a disappointing year for Wexford because it'll have regressed.
Yeah, you always want to top what you...
Yeah, and there's a lot of other counties that are probably looking for Davy, but I'd say, to be honest, he could do with a break.
Yeah, that's been... We could always Airbnb in Wexford. There's some really nice holiday homes down there.
But like, it's such a... I'm sure they're going to bring in a top-level coach next year anyway if Davy doesn't go back there, because he's met them to be a really attractive bunch to work with.
Yeah, and you can see, I think it's so lovely because obviously it's a fully amateur sport. The guys and the women, they give up so much to do it at the level that they do. So I think it makes it, well, I know that when you're giving that amount of time and you're probably, putting yourself under financial strain to do it, when you love your coach and you want to work for him or her, it does give you that extra bit of bite or that extra bit of, okay, I'm able to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm able to it's
he has that effect on teams. He goes somewhere for 2 or 3 years, gets the most out of them, and that's kind of what people think is his downfall too, that he gets so much out of them in the first 2-3 years that kind of that effect then kind of wanes a little bit. So it's interesting to see where he goes next.
Yeah, it's so, I guess, getting that
so
kind of emotional love, and then you can't, there's only so many times you can ring that. Ooh. Interesting. Oh, so much insightful. Okay, so we'll as we're primarily meant to be talking about like women in sport, but we just have to touch on the hurling because you were there as well, given the broadcasting. So, Camogie.
Yes.
So, like it's been a kind of different flow for Camogie than hurling. Obviously, when we're watching the hurling, a lot of the time it's an amazing spectacle, and again with women's football, it's coming into the fore a lot. We see it a lot on TV, and there's some absolutely cracking matches on, so we might touch on that a little bit later. But the Waterford Camogie panel came out the end. It was pretty frustrating for them. Niamh Rockett, she spoke about, they basically made a statement. They were concerned about the rescheduling of championship fixtures that were made like really short notice. They were told, I think it was a quote, allowing the change of date of an All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship match. It was like 5 days notice. Disrespects the efforts of players training since October of last year. Like that's a huge thing. If you're, like, you know yourself, if you're training for not even just your dietary and how your physical training alters in the lead up to a big race, But like your mental prep.
It's a mental build-up. You have yourself mentally ready to go that day. Yeah, no, 5 days is ridiculous.
No.
I know that would put me into panic, like if that happened with a race. Yeah.
Because you have like your set things that you like yourself to do, things you like, even stupid things that you like, okay, I eat this through like the day before I go into camp for a game, whatever it is, just all these comforting things that you're like, I played really well when I did this last time, and they're nearly like rituals, but
I think even like these girls put so much of their life on hold, and like they probably had plans for that Sunday. And I know what kind of, when I'm involved with a team and I've plans made outside of my sport, and then that gets wrecked, and I'm like, well, I can't even enjoy that now as well. You put so much time into one thing and so much expense into one thing, and then for the click of a fingers for it to be changed, like it was within rule, which is probably the worst part about it all. They didn't break any rules by changing the fixture. The rule states it can be done in a 5-day gap, I suppose. So they didn't break any rules, but I think there was an awful lot of unwritten rules that were broken there, I suppose.
No. So I know you played Camogie yourself. Are you happy you kind of stuck with the running in this instance?
Yeah, like, to be honest, it's something I thought about when I was younger, was kind of where can I go? Like, I've always loved Camogie. I loved it when I gave it up. It was kind of where can I go with either sport? And like, as you get to kind of 15, 16, you're starting to see like the inequality, and you're not getting noticed near as much. So like, there's just so much more opportunities for running, and like I still have a lot of friends in Camogie, and like it's the same thing, you're hearing that all the time with the minor lads training got the main pitch over the senior ladies like championship match, that type of thing. It's kind of disheartening, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it's massively frustrating, and I think it can definitely make you bitter towards a sport that you've kind of done so much for as well. Yeah,
like there's a lot of progress, especially like there is a lot of progress with women in sport, but like still hearing stuff like that, you're like, we've got a long way to go.
Because we took like our last episode, we spoke about that women in sport are we're not satisfied with the crumbs anymore. Great that you're improving and you're progressing, and we get that bit of kit, or we get that space of training, but we want more, or you want like equal footing. Senior men's team train here, the senior women's team should be training here. I think it makes sense, and it's only, and even like we're looking at it, even if you compare ladies football and ladies camogie, there's like, speaking to like my friends' kids and, you know, my nephews and nieces, they know ladies footballers, they know their names, they've actually become household names now, and I think hopefully that will happen with ladies camogie as well. But stuff like this and the kind of disrespect to players, it's like
it's a double-edged sword, really. Like the Camogie Association, the reason, like if we go back to the basics, why the fixture was changed was to allow some of the Cork players actually play a football match on that Saturday. So like they are trying to be fair in one regard, but kind of you're what's the word, inconveniencing a lot more people on the other side of it. So I think it even goes back further to fixtures and communication between the Ladies Gaelic Football Association and the Camogie Association. And we've had numerous issues with that over the past couple of years. It's just sad to see that happening again. It doesn't look to happen for the rest of the championship in terms of fixtures clashing. But like for it to happen this year again, when we had such issue last year with semi-finals clashing, like it's
just like, oh, we've been here before. Like this shouldn't happen again.
Did we learn anything from it? So yeah.
Like, because Cork footballer or Cork camogie player Amy O'Connor spoke out about it as well. She was just pretty frustrated. She said something like, well, she's 4-time All-Ireland winner, and I think her quote, the players just want to make it better for the players in the future. So fairness to the Camogie Association, like in fairness to the Camogie Association, they are working with this, but they just want to play camogie at the end of the day. So like, you know, we're reiterating, they're not asking for crazy demands. It's just
get the simple things right. Isn't that what it is? Like, you know, because there's
that wasn't Amy's quote. Sorry, that was Amy's quote. But I'm not able to read. I'm
sure Amy would have said something along the similar lines. But yeah, just kind of we're not looking for huge, massive changes. Just get the small things right, and we'll get another thing right each year as we go. But there's such simple things that we should be getting right that we don't seem to be. But
and Amy, this is Amy's quote. Sorry. it was a little like a different that because there was a report recently about the refereeing in Camogie and how it was kind of frustrating for players and it was very different. Some refs were reffing it one way and reffing it another way, and Amy kind of said that it was getting a bit boring to watch, which like that is so hard for a player to come out and say that about her own sport. Like I don't think that's an easy thing to do. Would like looking at it from a
that's kind of she most likely was referencing the All-Ireland final last year that was decided by a free, and like we're trying to portray Camogie as a really interesting, exciting game, and I've seen plenty of games this year, last year that were interesting, exciting, but then you get to the games that are televised and the All-Ireland finals and the referees are there to do their job and adhere to the rule book, which they are doing. And again, you'll read any quote from Amy or Paddy Murray or whoever it might be, and like they're not essentially like attacking the referees, they're just doing their job, but they're applying rules that no longer are fit for purpose, I think. So the All-Ireland final last year...
So it's not the refs, it's the book,
it's
the
book
law.
that needs to be changed, because the All-Ireland final last year, it was a case of who had the better free taker, you know, and that's not very entertaining to watch, and we're trying to get attendances up, but if we're not getting a free-flowing game, we're not going to see people flock to the matches. So they did hold a players forum, I think it was back in April time, where county managers, county players and WGPA representatives came together to try and, I suppose, come up with a list of rules that need alteration and need changes. And I do know the Camogie Association are very open to that. So they're going to look at that in Congress this year, just to make it more physical. The girls are spending a couple of nights a week in the gym. They're training in a physical manner, and then they go out 1 week to one referee that's calling it as a foul. The next week it might be a hurling based referee that will be more used to a hurling rule book, and he might let that go. So that's kind of where the inconsistencies lie.
I think that would be just like that would be very frustrating as a player. You're like, this is how we train, we'd like to bring it into a game. And as well as that, it's such a skillful when it's not when it's ref right, that's the wrong way to say it, but when you do see, like you said, a game that's just they're allowed to play,
the game is flowing.
It's a hugely impressive sport. Like I remember on a J1, a lot of the girls were county players, and they were just that black spot on the top of it, and they were, I can't remember how many meters away, they were just whacking that like it was just like just a regular Tuesday, and it's so impressive.
Like it's the fastest field sport in the world. When it comes to women, they just aren't allowed to show their skills because they might get a tap of a shoulder before they get to strike the ball.
Do you think that's affecting? As we see, like we're chatting with Mackers and stuff about there's so many like young kids and young girls going back into the club system to play football. If you can't see that in Camogie, do you think it affects numbers wise for them coming up and wanting to play for their county as well? Or like as in when you're seeing fantastic games of football being played and it's not the case as much in Camogie, it's that stop-start game all the time. Young girls looking to play a sport, they pick one or the other?
I'm not sure that essentially would have a huge influence on participation. I think that's more so down to sponsorship and promotion, and like we've seen the work the Ladies Gaelic Football Association have done over the past couple of years and the work Lidl have done with them, and TG Car obviously as well as one of the main sponsors. So I think that probably it's more visible, like you get to see more football games on the television. We don't get to see as many Camogie games.
Advertising.
So we've only had one Camogie game on TV this year, and that was the league final, and then this weekend we have the quarterfinals that are going to be televised, and we're going to see that the rest of the season. But TG Car obviously as the sponsor of the football, they get to showcase their game that little bit more, and if you can't see, you can't be. Isn't that what we're
that's it.
talking about here?
Nice little insert there, Lauren. Yeah, beautiful. I love your work. Are we going to see who are we going to see in the final?
In the Camogie? It's Cork, Kilkenny, Galway. It was Kilkenny, Galway in the league final, and Kilkenny, I suppose, went to town on them. Sorry, Galway went to town on them, and unexpectedly won that league final. But yeah, Cork are going for 3 in a row, and they're a well-oiled machine, and I think they're probably bitter they didn't get to that league final this year. They're on opposite sides of the semi-final, so we're probably going to see a titanic battle between Galway and one of those, whoever it might be. They have to play a quarter-final yet, so I don't think Waterford will be too happy with me saying that. But I'd love a surprise, I'd love a shock, because we only have those top 3 teams and everyone else is trying to get there. So it would be nice to have a bit of a surprise or a bit of a shock.
Yeah, because I think Kilkenny met Cork 5 times in the last 7 years in that final, which is, that's great. Like, and then Cork are going for the 3 in a row again. This is the 4th time they're going for 3 in a row since the 30s. Clearly I've done my Googling. But like, that's in itself is huge. So it's like, yeah, I'm looking forward to, well, hopefully we'll focus on the semi-finals first and then
quarterfinals even.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah, Limerick Tip and Galway Waterford.
Galway
Stadium.
Waterford, right, okay. We won't say anything about Waterford. Got it. So, nice, Lauren. Back to you a little bit, Nadia, because, sorry, we were in a Camogie rant, even though yourself was a player. You're like, so you mentioned earlier that you were training in DCU, studying away, but you're also training how many times a week?
It's a little bit broken up now in that, like throughout, I guess, the summer seasons from May, you're racing every week or every second week. So training dies down a lot. But yeah, a general week throughout the college year, it would be 8 times a week, with 1 rest day. But to be honest, like...
So did you go mad on your rest day?
Resting, go mad
Coppers!
resting. Yeah. Oh, definitely not, I'm afraid. Getting a massage, I'd say, is as wild as it gets. But yeah, college really suits me, like, just because I have about, like, I'm doing marketing in DCU and it's about 12 hours a week. So honestly, like, the DCU setup is kind of what I contribute to, like, my success, like, in the last 2 years. Like, just if I have a lecture at 11, I'll get my run in before that, and then I'll get my gym in after that and go to the next lecture, and then we'll have our sessions with the group on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then my coach lives quite near me, so like we'll meet up with maybe 1 or 2 others on the Saturday for another session. So yeah, it's all kind of slotted into place really nicely for me. So yeah, I enjoy that.
And it's nice because you're not just running, you get to focus on something else as well. You can be like, okay, now I'm in marketing mode, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Not that I'm that intense about college, but here I am when I get to lectures. No, but yeah, it is good. I think, like, I often thought, probably until like this season, I was like, oh God, what if I ever get good enough to be a professional athlete? I'll get too bored. I don't know what I'll do. Because usually when we go on training camps once or twice a year, I just get so bored.
Well, you pick a hobby, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You get like...
I need something else, like, because, you know, running isn't like a lot of other sports. Like, you can only train so much or your body breaks down. It's not like swimming or something, or even like rugby. You could probably do a few more hours doing different types of sessions with a team.
Skills or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you could get a good part of the day with that. Like, running, you know, I can't run for 2 hours straight every day. And
lazy.
I know. So lazy. You know, it's just... You're constantly getting to kind of, I guess, you're trying to get to the top of the cliff without falling over injury wise, is kind of, that's running performance. So like, I guess when I'm running my best, I'm always like 1 step away from getting injured and breaking down.
You try and go to your peak and then rest is huge as well.
So you just have to be really careful not to overtrain. So that leaves a lot of time, I guess, for professional athletes to kill.
We'll brainstorm and think of some hobby.
I have college and work to fill that for now. So okay.
Grand. Well, no need to like pick up the guitar or anything just yet or any other. Got it. So Sudoku is out.
Yeah.
Got it. That's nearly all we have time for. But to end our show, what we do is back by popular demand. So we were going to ditch words of the week for a while, and then some guy in Valencia was chatting away to me, and he was like, what's happening with words of the week now? It's probably because Mackers, who's not here, was so crap at it that we had to get rid of it, but she's not here now, so I'm going to try and force a comeback. So basically, I'm going to read out a quote from a female athlete, and you guys have to guess who it is.
Yeah, I played this kind of when I was watching the last few episodes.
Okay. How did you fare?
It was tough enough.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. No pressure. No pressure. Like, you could possibly get this, maybe. Is that a clue or is that a double bluff? Who knows? I'm so good at acting. Okay.
I'm not agreeing.
Okay. That's my clearing the throat. The only one who can tell you can't win is you, and you don't have to listen. Oh, there's. Are you?
Nothing.
Okay, this is the silence is killing me right now. It's closer to your sport than Camogie. It's a British athlete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it my sport? Or
she does a bit of running. Yeah, she does a bit of running. But she does other stuff too. She's a multitasker.
Triathlete.
Yeah. Oh, lads, that was a big clue. She multitasks.
Yeah.
Yeah. British athlete. She's medalled. I think she's retired.
I don't know if I know.
Her favourite shape is a heptathlon.
Jessica Ennis.
There you go. Oh. No points. You were both absolutely crap at that. No.
I was thinking triathlon.
Actually, maybe there's a reason why we scrapped words of the week. We'll have to come up with something else. Nadia, Lauren, thanks so much for joining us on the panel today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening at home. Chat to you next week.